Man here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. I'm listening to Dillian Whyte, man, and usually I'll be on the side of a fighter that's probably trying to rock against Eddie Hearn or whatever, and trying to expose Eddie Hearn and things like that. And I'd be like, well, listen to him, man. There you go, man. Take charge of yourself. But I'm sorry, man. I just can't rock with Dillian Whyte with what he's saying. I can't. He's starting to sound like a crybaby to me, to be honest with you. He's doing a little too much whining. The thing is, for those who haven't heard, today the WBC came out and stated that they are ordering, I repeat, ordering a fight between Dillian Whyte, who is the WBC silver champion, and Dominic Breazeale, who is the WBC mandatory. And this fight has now been ordered, and they have up until, March 19th to make a deal, or else it goes to purse bid. Now, we know Eddie Hearn has lately been on a losing streak when it comes to purse bids. So Dillian Whyte is telling them, look, man, y'all got to deliver this for me. I'm listening to him on a recent interview on Sky Sports. He's telling Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn, deliver this for me. But I'm saying, what I'm thinking is, let's not act like Eddie Hearn didn't sort of deliver for you already. He's delivered for you better than he's delivered for most of his other fighters. And that's just being truthful. Since Dillian Whyte's lost to AJ, which he did get a crack at AJ already, and he lost. Since his loss to AJ, you look at the type of fights that he's been getting. He's been made a pay-per-view attraction in the UK, fighting the likes of a Joseph Parker. He's been made the WBC silver champion with Eddie Hearn's guidance. It's not Eddie Hearn's fault that the WBC seen Dominic Breazeale as the mandatory, and he's done less than Dillian Whyte. That's on the WBC. He guided him into a lucrative rematch with Derek Chisora, something that even a lot of the fight fans here in America wasn't too thrilled about, all because we wanted to see you face Luis Ortiz when Luis Ortiz called you out. You didn't want to do that fight. You had roads to Dominic Breazeale been calling you out months ago. Let's not act like this is something new. You was, at one time playing big for that fight. Now that you see that your options are running low, you thought you was going to become the WBO mandatory when you defeated Joseph Parker, but the WBO never sanctioned that fight as a mandatory fight. So now you're just the number one contender, not the mandatory challenger, and still have to fight again to become the mandatory challenger. You know what I'm saying? You've been put in a good position, in my opinion, under Eddie Hearn. Jarrell Miller even called you out at one time. So, and I'm sure with Hearn, if they really wanted to make that fight could have been made. However, now Anthony Joshua's already taken that fight. So let's not act like, Eddie Hearn ain't been doing a lot for you. There's been a lot of talks of him maybe linking up with Al Heyman. And I've been telling fans, I don't know about that. I think Dillian Whyte is just kicking and screaming. He started to find out more and more about his business sense and more about his deal. He's not a DAZN fighter. He's not locked in. He can go and talk to other networks, things of that nature, and that's what he's doing, just to piss Eddie off. But is he leaving Eddie Hearn? I don't see it. I just don't see it. I just think he's just crying and whining, trying to get the best thing he can get. But let's not act like you haven't had many opportunities, Dillian Whyte, and nor have not been put in a decent position by Eddie Hearn. And this is coming from a dude who always rides on Eddie Hearn. But this is just keeping it fat. So anyway, now the WBC has ordered this fight between him and Dominic Breazeale, the mandatory WBC challenger. The winner of this fight should definitely get the winner of Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Now, if anybody getting screwed over, if anything, is Dominic Breazeale, who's been the mandatory now for over a year. And he ain't never got a crack at Deontay Wilder. The WBC instead ruled in favor of the rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And that even before the Tyson Fury fight, Deontay Wilder was making Dominic Breazeale wait. Now, they was building up a storyline semi to that fight, but it never happened. Dominic Breazeale was supposed to get his crack at the title, but instead the WBC ordered him to fight you. It's a proper decision. It's not the worst decision. But yet Dominic Breazeale was the one that was supposed to get his shot. So now in this particular scenario, Dillian Whyte does not have to be with Al Heyman to make this happen. Well, actually, it would be easier if he went to Al Heyman to make this happen. But listening to his recent statements saying Eddie Hearn and Sky need to make something happen, and he already has an April date. I think it was April 20th lockdown for the O2. He's giving them the shot to make this fight happen for him. My thing is, if they fall through and it doesn't work, who knows, man? I'm not saying that Al Heyman can't lure him back over the water. We seen him getting his last fight aired on Showtime. I mean, that was big. That was a big deal. So Dillian Whyte realizes that the star power, in order to make it into America, the road may have to go through Showtime. And of course, if he's going to go through Showtime, it has to deal with Al Heyman. I can't see Showtime being happy right now with Eddie Hearn, knowing what they did with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was signed up for a 6-fight deal under Showtime, and when it was time for them to make the Anthony Joshua versus Wilder fight, Eddie Hearn pulled Anthony Joshua off Showtime. So I can't imagine them being super happy with him. You know what I'm saying? But yet and still, Dillian Whyte is still doing business with Eddie Hearn. Not to mention he has fighters that does business with Eddie Hearn. The last video I did, I told people, man, I say, look, man, can Dillian Whyte be trusted? Everybody's seeing Dillian Whyte coming over here for the fight, and Dillian says he's talking to this person and talking to that person. Everybody alluding to, oh, Al Heyman's going to get him. Al Heyman, he's with Al Heyman. We don't know that. We don't even know if this is Eddie behind the scenes playing chess. Putting Dillian Whyte in a position to get the mandatory, and at this point, Eddie Hearn will be in control of the mandatory as well as in control of Anthony Joshua, 2 fights that may lead to the winner of Wilder versus Fury. You see where I'm going? It could be Eddie Hearn playing chess, but at the end of the day, from what I see from Dillian Whyte, I'm just not believing him and so sure that he comes over here and be with Al Heyman and be a Showtime fight. I'm just not so sure. I think Dillian Whyte is just learning his business, and he's moving accordingly. That's what he's doing. Now, since this fight, it looked like it's going to happen between Dominic Breazeale and Dillian Whyte, whether it's with Eddie Hearn or Al Heyman or whoever the fuck, at the end of the day, what this situation is starting to require now is that Eddie Hearn and Al Heyman is going to have to do business. Now, whoever wins the purse bid, that's a whole different conversation. It could be Eddie. It could be Al and PBC. Who knows? Who knows? But Dillian says he has the date. They have until March 19th to make an official deal. Dillian says he wants this fight by April 20th. He is betting on Sky and Eddie Hearn to make this, Sky Sports and Matchroom and Eddie Hearn to make this thing happen. He's betting and he's telling them to deliver for him. Now, if Eddie Hearn is in his right mind, and if Sky Sports is smart, they would do everything they need to do to keep Dillian Whyte, and they will win this purse bid. It ain't going to be easy. You going up against a real formidable opponent and Al Heyman and PBC with real deep pockets. It ain't going to be easy. But they need to do something. This fight is going down and it's been ordered by the WBC. So, I mean, I'm just saying, and I'll repeat one more time before the end of this video, it will be a game changer if Al Heyman came along and said, you know what? How about you come on over here to PBC? Purse bid will then be over. Them two can fight under the PBC Showtime banner if he can lure him away from Eddie Hearn in time. But as of today, it seems like Dillian Whyte still on hanging by a thread, but he's still over there with Eddie Hearn, Sky Sports, and Matchroom. We'll see how this play out. To the next video, Main Man Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe to Twitter, Made Man 511, Facebook, Main Man Made Man Boxing Forum, Google Plus, Main Man Made Man. To my casuals, I know that could be a bit confusing. To my hardcores, I'm sure y'all understand crystal clear. Stylistically, as of today, I give the edge to Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte, he's truthful what he said. He carries his power deep into fights. He's constantly, he's fighting. He's gotten better and better each and every fight. He's took on much more stellar competition and beat them. As for Dominic Breazeale, always being hit, but he is full of heart. We seen his last fight, fighting with his eye closed, full of heart, and he pulled out that win. It'll be an interesting fight, but I give the slight edge to Dillian Whyte as of today. We'll see, though. To the next video, Main Man Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace out.